to Paul, Yasmin, Ashok, and Azran. Thank you so much for your wonderful presentation, not only erudite but stimulating and above all so interconnected. So thank you very much. So I just want to spend a few minutes of my time just to share the excitement of this new initiative that, as Winnie mentioned, is only about 16 months old, but I can see from the way it's been panning out, it's a wonderful initiative, and thank you very much to everybody. Just a few quick remarks. Next slide, please. Somebody's doing the slides, or am I doing the slides? Sangeeta?
Prof, we are moving the slides to you.
Oh, bless you, yeah. So I just wanted to bring us all back to what's being said by all four speakers in different perspectives. And I want to remind ourselves that we in Asia are surrounded by a food enigma and an Asian paradox. Why do I say that? Because it is ironic that no time in history have we produced such an abundance amount of food in the world, and yet in Asia, 500 million people go hungry every day, and nearly 1 million of us are overweight or obese. The second point I want to also point out to you is that much of the global narrative on nutrition has focused and centered around overweight and obesity. Now in Asia, as you all know, being fat is no relevance to the prevalence of type 2 diabetes. 70% of people that got type 2 diabetes in Asia are skinny guys. And therefore, the point I'm making is that the narrative on nutrition and food science is not relevant perhaps directly to the Asian context. The second point I want to remind ourselves that we in Asia are also hugely affected by iron, iodine, vitamin A, zinc, vitamin D deficiency, stunting, and of course diabetics I talked about. And the second paradox is that we've heard Paul and Ashok and many others say that isn't it ironic that Asia being the fastest growing economy, how is it that we still have this severe pockets of malnutrition? What is the access to food? The whole question of sustainability, access to markets, all of these things become a huge challenge. Next slide, please. Just to remind you that I want to argue that in Asia, we have a huge global concern of type 2 diabetes, much more significant than obesity. I'm not detracting for the role of obesity, but I think this is a much bigger issue. Next slide, please. And so what we've been doing here in a very small way is to really ask the question, how can this group, being the ambassadors of tomorrow and on which the shoulders of which we are building, look at what is humankind's greatest challenge? How do we access palatable, nutritious, and above all, affordable foods? And I think the second point I want to share with you with great excitement is that Asia is rapidly becoming an epicenter of high quality food and nutrition research. So we don't simply have to go to the textbooks of what's happening in the West to inform and influence our paradigm. And as you know, in Singapore, the government is spending millions of dollars on food and nutrition research. And as you know, in April of this year, we have formed a new center called the Singapore Institute of Food and Biotechnology Innovation, whose executive director, Hazel Koo, is also in the audience, I know, just to show us an example that we mean big business in terms of the science and policy of nutrition. And as Ashok pointed out, that let's also remind that scientists can also become tomorrow's greatest entrepreneurs. So therefore, we now have an enormous responsibility on our shoulders in all of you listening into this event. How do we have policy discussion and strategize and focus the needs of our region? And therefore, this second IMU A-Star ASEAN Food and Science Network is a simple way to nurture both the scientific and the capacity building in this region. Finally, I want to end by saying, the last slide please. The last slide is that our vision has been very simple. We want to connect new scientists with all the 10 nations in the ASEAN region so that we have a collective powerful force of intellectual prowess that is unprecedented in this part of the world. Share examples of good practice in food and nutrition, which we're already seeing today, and also promote much more South dialogue, which is again an important part of our vision. And last but not least, to focus and address local issues with our regional talent. So last year, those of you attend our first meeting in Singapore, we had Singapore and Malaysia. This time around, we have included Indonesia and Thailand. Thank you so much to our Indonesian and Thai partners for joining in. We will have more. Thank you very much for dialing in. So next year, we plan to have 3 more countries join us, and they will be, I believe, Philippines, Brunei, and Vietnam, and the next year, the last 3, so that in 2 years' time, we will have a brute force of 10 of our global partners in the ASEAN region. So I need to end by saying thank you for this wonderful event. Many people were involved with this. I want to really make a special thank you to the 4 speakers, also to Vinny, who's unfortunately left after another meeting. Thank you for her supportive role in this. Last but not least, all the participants, but most of all also to the colleagues from IMU, notably Sangeeta and Megan, and many others from IMU who behind the scene have been helping us, but also our 3 staff members who are the early career scientists that we also keen to nurture, that notably are Sumanto, Stefan, and Kerry. But last but not least, thank you to everybody from all parts of the ASEAN region for joining in, and I hope this is a beginning of a much brighter elements for all of us to be thankful and excited about it. Thank you, and God bless to everybody.
Thank you, Professor Henry. We will stop working in silos, hopefully, and we will look outside and collaborate a bit more, and we will stop being tied in perfection.